Are you ready to uncover the dark secrets of Myanmar? In this video, we'll take you deep into the shadows of the 10 most haunted places in Myanmar, where restless spirits, eerie whispers, and chilling ghostly encounters await. From cursed temples to haunted bridges, each location holds a terrifying mystery. Stay with us, if you dare. 1. The Secretariat, Yangon. The grand colonial structure of the Secretariat in Yangon stands as a silent witness to Myanmar's turbulent past. Its grand hallways, once echoing with the voices of the nation's leaders, now whisper secrets of tragedy and betrayal. On July 19, 1947, the assassination of General Aung San and his cabinet members turned the building into a place of death and sorrow. Though decades have passed, those who dare to enter its abandoned corridors report a lingering presence, an unseen force that watches, waits, and whispers. Guards and restoration workers have spoken of disembodied voices, hushed conversations in Burmese, as if the spirits of the fallen ministers are forever locked in their final meeting. Footsteps echo on empty staircases, growing louder as if someone is approaching, only for them to stop abruptly when turned upon. Some even claim to have seen shadowy figures standing in the very room where the assassinations took place, fading into the darkness when approached. One chilling encounter tells of a journalist who entered the building late at night to investigate the hauntings. As he set up his recorder, a soft but firm voice whispered in his ear, "Leave." Frozen in fear, he turned to find no one there. But his recorder had captured something, a voice saying his name, followed by a gunshot. The Secretariat remains one of Yangon's most haunted locations. Whether the spirits are seeking justice or simply reliving their final moments, those who step inside its walls may never walk out the same again. 2. Amazing Kengtung Resort, Kengtung Nesled. In the misty hills of Kengtung, the amazing Kengtung Resort is a place of beauty, luxury, and lingering fear. Once known as the Kyaing Tong Nu Hotel, this grand structure was originally a royal palace, home to the last ruling Sabwa, Prince of Kengtung. But where there was once royalty, now there are whispers of something far more sinister. Guests and hotel staff have reported strange occurrences, lights flickering without reason, cold gusts of air in windowless rooms, and the unsettling sensation of being watched. Many believe that the spirits of the old royal family still wander the halls, trapped between the past and the present. One of the most terrifying legends tells of a room on the top floor that no one dares to stay in. According to local stories, a guest who checked into that room was found dead the next morning, his face frozen in terror. The cause of death was never determined, but the hotel quickly stopped assigning that room to guests. Those who have dared to peek inside claim they hear the sound of soft weeping in the dead of night. A former staff member once shared a chilling experience. While cleaning an empty suite, she saw a woman in traditional Burmese attire staring at her from the mirror. When she turned around, the room was empty. The woman's reflection, however, remained in the glass, her sorrowful eyes following the terrified maid as she fled the room. Despite its luxurious appearance, the amazing Kengtung Resort holds a dark secret, one that only reveals itself when the sun sets and the spirits of the past reclaim their home. 3. Manuha Temple, Bagan. In the heart of Bagan, where thousands of ancient temples rise from the dusty plains, stands Manuha Temple, a place of both worship and sorrow. Unlike the serene beauty of other pagodas, this temple carries an unsettling presence, as if the very walls are crying out in despair. Built in 1067 AD by King Manuha, The temple was not meant to inspire peace. It was a prison. The king, once ruler of Thaton, was captured by King Anarata and held captive in Bagan. As a prisoner in a foreign land, he commissioned this temple to reflect his torment. The massive Buddha statues inside, cramped in tight chambers, seemed trapped, suffocating, just as Manuha had felt in his final days. Visitors often describe an eerie heaviness upon entering, a weight pressing on their chest. Some claim to hear whispers in an unknown language, echoing through the stone walls, while others feel as though invisible eyes are watching them. The most chilling encounters, however, happen near the reclining Buddha, the symbol of death and release. A young monk once reported seeing a shadow moving in the flickering candlelight. Believing it to be a fellow monk, he turned to greet them, only to find no one there. Then, he heard a sigh, deep, sorrowful, right behind him. Frightened, he fled the temple, only to be plagued by strange dreams of an old man in royal robes, his eyes filled with silent suffering. Locals say King Manuha's spirit still lingers, bound to the temple, forever reliving the pain of his captivity. Even today, those who enter Manuha Temple do not leave untouched. Some feel sadness, others fear, but all agree on one thing: the spirit of the imprisoned king has never truly left. 4. Kiaiktio Pagoda, Golden Rock, Mon State. Perched precariously on the edge of a cliff, Kiaiktio Pagoda, also known as Golden Rock, is a breathtaking sight. According to legend, the massive golden boulder is held in place by a single strand of Buddha's hair. Pilgrims come from all over Myanmar to witness its sacred balance. But among the devout whispers of faith, there are also chilling tales of those who angered the spirits guarding this sacred place. For centuries, locals have warned visitors to show utmost respect at Kiaiktio. Those who mock the site or break sacred rules are said to face the wrath of guardian spirits. Some disappear without a trace. Others return, but with vacant stares, unable to explain what they saw. One of the most terrifying stories tells of a group of travelers who, laughing at the supposed magic of the Golden Rock, attempted to push it. That night, as they slept in a nearby lodge, one of them awoke to find himself standing at the cliff's edge, as if guided by unseen hands. His friends found him just in time, his eyes blank, his body stiff, as if possessed. When he finally spoke, his voice was not his own. "You do not belong here," he murmured before collapsing. The next morning, he had no memory of what had happened. Pilgrims have also reported seeing shadowy figures walking along the mountain path at dusk, vanishing when approached. Some say they are the spirits of monks who once meditated here. Others believe they are souls cursed to guard the rock for eternity. The Golden Rock is a site of deep reverence, but those who approach it with arrogance may leave with something far worse than regret, a haunting that follows them long after they've gone. 5. Inya Lake, Yangon. By day, Inya Lake in Yangon is a peaceful retreat, its waters reflecting the golden hues of the sun. By night, however, it becomes a place of whispers, shadows, and restless spirits. Among the eerie legends tied to this vast lake, the most chilling is the tale of the Lady in White, a vengeful spirit said to lure unsuspecting victims into the depths. Locals whisper of a tragic past. Decades ago, a young woman was said to have drowned herself in the lake after being betrayed by her lover. Heartbroken and consumed by sorrow, she walked into the water under the moonlight, never to return. But while her body was lost to the lake, her spirit never left. Fishermen, late-night joggers, and couples strolling along the shore have all reported seeing a woman dressed in white, standing by the water's edge. Her long, wet hair clings to her face, her lifeless eyes staring into the darkness. Some say she calls out in a soft, haunting voice, asking for help. But those who approach find nothing but ripples on the water. The most terrifying encounters come from those who dare to swim in the lake after dark. A university student once told of a chilling experience. While swimming with friends, he felt a cold hand grab his ankle and pull him downward. He struggled, kicking frantically until he finally surfaced. Gasping for air, he turned back to see a pale face just beneath the water, staring up at him. He never swam in the lake again. Many believe the Lady in White still seeks revenge, dragging the souls of men to join her in her watery grave. Whether a tragic ghost or a vengeful spirit, one thing is certain. When the moonlight hits the water of Inya Lake, she watches and waits. 6. Mount Popa, Mandalay Region. Rising dramatically from the plains of Mandalay Region, Mount Popa is a place of both awe and fear. Often called Burma's Mount Olympus, it is said to be the home of the Nats, Myanmar's ancient and powerful spirits. Pilgrims visit its sacred shrine to offer prayers, but locals warn, the spirits of Mount Popa are not always kind. For centuries, travelers have reported strange occurrences on the winding path to the summit. Some hear whispers in the wind, calling their names. Others feel an invisible force pushing them back, as if warning them not to proceed. But the most terrifying stories come from those who angered the spirits, whether by disrespecting the shrine, speaking ill of the Nats, or daring to spend the night on the mountain. One tale tells of a group of hikers who decided to camp near the peak. As they gathered around their fire, one of them laughed, dismissing the stories of the Nats as mere superstition. That night, as he lay in his tent, he was awakened by a deep, guttural growl. Thinking it was an animal, he peeked outside, only to see a shadowy figure standing among the trees, its glowing eyes fixed on him. The next morning, he was found sitting in the same spot, his face pale and his body trembling. He refused to speak of what he had seen. Visitors also speak of a phantom procession, a line of ghostly figures dressed in royal garments, ascending the mountain steps in complete silence. Those who have tried to follow them find that the figures simply vanish into thin air before reaching the shrine. Even today, Mount Popa is revered and feared. The Nats are watching, and those who fail to show respect may find themselves at the mercy of spirits that do not forgive. 7. Thanbuzayat, War Cemetery, Mon State. Nestled in the quiet town of Thanbuzayat, this war cemetery stands as a solemn reminder of the horrors of World War II. Thousands of Allied soldiers who perished while building the infamous Death Railway lie beneath the meticulously arranged tombstones. But for many, their suffering did not end in death. It lingers in the air, in the whispers of the wind, and in the shadows that stretch long after dusk. Locals and visitors alike have reported unsettling encounters within the cemetery grounds. Some claim to hear the faint sounds of marching boots, moving in perfect rhythm, despite the fact that the cemetery is completely empty. Others describe soft murmurs in foreign tongues, as if the souls of fallen soldiers are still engaged in hushed conversations from a time long past. One chilling tale tells of a British traveler who came to pay respects to his grandfather, buried among the thousands. As he stood before the gravestone, lost in thought, he heard a voice behind him say, "Not yet, lad." Turning quickly, he found no one there. The wind was still, the cemetery silent. Shaken, he hurried to leave, but as he stepped through the gates, he felt a firm hand grip his shoulder. He spun around. Again, no one. That night, he suffered terrible nightmares of soldiers in ragged uniforms, staring at him through hollow, haunted eyes. Caretakers have also spoken of shadowy figures moving between the graves at night, only to vanish when approached. Some believe they are spirits of soldiers searching for their families, while others insist they are restless souls, still marching, still waiting, forever trapped in the war they never escaped. At Thanbu Zayat War Cemetery, the dead do not rest. They remember. And sometimes, they make sure you remember too. 8. Shwe Nandaw Monastery, Mandalay. Once a grand part of the Mandalay Royal Palace, Shwe Nandaw Monastery stands as an intricately carved relic of Myanmar's past. But behind its golden teakwood beauty lies a darker, more sinister tale. Many believe that the monastery is not just a historical site. It is a place of lingering spirits, trapped between the world of the living and the dead. Originally, a part of the royal palace, the monastery was once the personal residence of King Mindon Min, the second-to-last king of Burma. It was here that he took his last breath, and some say that his spirit never truly left. Fearing a haunting, his successor, King Thibaw, had the entire structure moved out of the palace grounds. But relocating it did not remove the spirits. If anything, it only angered them. Visitors who enter the monastery often speak of an unsettling silence, as if the wooden halls are holding their breath. Some claim to hear soft whispers in the corners, murmuring words in a language long forgotten. Monks who live near the site refuse to stay inside after dark, saying they have seen shadowy figures gliding between the wooden columns, disappearing before they can be fully seen. One chilling story tells of a young historian who visited the monastery alone, hoping to capture its haunting beauty in photographs. As he stood in the main hall, he felt a cold breath against his ear. Thinking it was the wind, he ignored it, until he heard his own name whispered from behind him. Turning quickly, he found himself completely alone. When he developed his photos later, his heart stopped. One of the images showed a ghostly face staring back at him from the monastery's shadows. To this day, Shwe Nandaw Monastery remains a site of mystery, beauty, and fear. Some visit for its history, others for its spirits. But all who enter leave with a story they will never forget. 9. Hlawga National Park, Yangon. By day, Hlawga National Park is a peaceful sanctuary, home to lush greenery, roaming deer, and exotic birds. But when night falls, the beauty of this place gives way to something darker, more unsettling. The dense forests, once a place of hunting and wartime bloodshed, are now said to be haunted by lost souls, wandering spirits forever trapped in the shadows of the trees. For years, visitors and park rangers have reported strange occurrences, whispers carried by the wind, the feeling of being watched from the darkness, and unexplained figures moving through the trees. Some claim to hear the soft, sorrowful cries of a woman echoing through the jungle, while others have seen ghostly apparitions walking along the deserted trails. One of the most terrifying stories comes from a group of campers who decided to spend a night deep in the forest. As they gathered around their fire, they began to hear rustling in the bushes, followed by the distinct sound of footsteps circling their campsite. Thinking it was an animal, one of them shone a flashlight toward the sound, only to see a pale figure standing between the trees, its eyes hollow, its face twisted in silent agony. Before they could react, it vanished into thin air. Locals believe that the spirits haunting Hlawga National Park are the restless souls of soldiers and hunters who met their untimely deaths in the forest. Some were killed in battle, others lost in accidents, but all share one thing in common: they never left. Even today, those who dare to walk the forest trails after sunset often return with tales of unseen hands brushing against them, cold breath on the back of their necks, and the eerie feeling that someone, or something, is following them. At Hlawga National Park, the spirits of the past do not sleep. They wander, they watch, and sometimes they let themselves be seen. 10. Mayawati Bridge, Kayan State. Spanning the Thongyan River, Mayawati Bridge serves as a vital connection between Myanmar and Thailand. By day, it is a bustling crossing, filled with traders, travelers, and border patrols. But by night, when the river darkens and the lights flicker, the bridge becomes a place of haunting whispers and spectral figures, a passage not just for the living, but for the dead as well. For decades, this region has been the site of violent conflicts, drownings, and tragic accidents. Some say that the spirits of those who died in the river never truly moved on. Fishermen and night guards tell chilling stories of figures standing on the bridge's edge, staring down into the water before vanishing into thin air. Others have seen ghostly hands emerging from the river, reaching toward those who lean too close. One of the most terrifying tales comes from a truck driver who was crossing the bridge late at night. As he neared the middle, his headlights illuminated a woman in white, standing alone. Thinking she needed help, he slowed down. But as he got closer, he saw her face was pale, her eyes hollow, her mouth slightly open, as if whispering something unheard. Suddenly, she turned and walked off the edge of the bridge. Shocked, he ran to look, but there was no splash, no sound, no body. She had simply disappeared. Locals believe the bridge is haunted by the spirits of those who drowned in the river, victims of war, and lost souls searching for peace. Some say they hear soft crying when crossing the bridge alone. Others feel an unseen presence walking beside them, matching their steps until they reach the other side. At Mayawati Bridge, the living are never truly alone. The river holds its secrets, and sometimes the ghosts rise to remind us of their sorrow. These haunted locations prove that Myanmar is not just rich in history, but also in spirits that refuse to rest. Have you ever experienced anything supernatural in Myanmar? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this chilling journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying tales from around the world. Until next time, sleep with the lights on.